Hi, my name is Jaden Landreth, and in the fall of 2020, I designed a museum that embodied an American experience. And I'm going to read my abstract to give you a better idea of the Monument Depot. The death of George Floyd sparked national outrage, widespread protests, and a revived effort to remove statues and symbols glorifying the country's racist figures across the United States. As everyday citizens have taken their responsibility into their own hands by tearing down and vandalizing these monuments, the Monument Depot, located in Fort Worth, Texas, recontextualizes them to reframe the untold narrative surrounding these figures. The form of the museum is a warped frame submerged into the ground, set up at the furthest corner away from both the more celebrated museums in the location, the Kimball Art Museum and the Modern Art Museum of Fort Worth. The journey through the galleries tells an uncomfortable story of depth and darkness that then transitions to light and nature at the end of the journey. Located at the climax of the descending gallery sequence is a Confederate graveyard of statues placed in a pit below the feet of the viewer, which is inspired by the Terracotta Army in China. It exemplifies the set of design principles employed to contest these monuments, as well as the museum itself, opposed to celebrating them. The heavy concrete structure and cracked facade creates a cold, dark experience from the entrance to the climax of the museum. The journey through the galleries then steps up into a series of gradually lighter spaces that, with the use of self-insulating Zosbium concrete bricks composed of thousands of optic fibers, allowing light to travel inside through the exterior wall. The interior courtyard, encompassing the existing site's heritage tree, becomes where visitors complete their journey of reflection and re-education. Now to take you through the poster's organization, in the upper left-hand corner, I have an exterior render of what it would look like on the entrance. And directly below that, I have a view of the lobby interior perspective and then a gallery interior perspective to give you a better idea of what it would look like inside, to showcase the materiality and the lightness and darkness that plays a huge part in this. Directly next to that on the right, I showed a series of design principles that I employed to make my decisions, and I did celebrated versus contested. Obviously, this is what is contested. So breaking it down, we have different ideas of what you would traditionally do with different monuments in a museum or artwork, and then I did the opposite. Then below that, I directly relayed that to the form of the museum, and then below that, I gave you a better idea of how I designed the form. Next to the design principles, I have an exploded axonometric drawing that gives you a better look into the descending gallery sequence that turns into ascending. So you get an idea of journey, and then it breaks down the floor versus the cracked facade of the walls, and then the series of panels on the roof that brings that natural light into the space. In the lower left-hand corner, I have a site plan that shows you the surrounding museums in Fort Worth and how I made my museum on the lower right-hand corner away from these museums to show that it's more shameful and it's definitely rejecting the celebration that these other museums have. Finally, on the right of that, you can see my abstract, my series of floor plans, starting with the second floor plan, then the first, then the basement. And then finally, in the lower right-hand corner, we have a wall section that shows the length of the entire building, giving you a better idea of what it looks like with these galleries descending. Thank you.